Imagine a universe indifferent to human concerns. In this vast, uncaring cosmos, Albert Camus sought to understand the nature of existence. In post-war France, Camus grappled with profound question. Society was recovering from the trauma of global conflict. Many sought solace in established beliefs and traditions. Yet, Camus stood apart, driven by his quest for truth. He faced the existential challenge head-on, confronting the seeming absurdity of life. It was a time when many were seeking meaning amidst chaos and destruction. Camus questioned whether the universe itself offered any inherent purpose. Albert Camus was a writer and philosopher who refused easy answers. Instead of turning to religion or traditional philosophy, he embraced the absurd. For Camus, absurdity was not an endpoint but a starting point. He saw life as inherently devoid of preordained meaning. This realization did not deter him. Rather, it inspired a new kind of defiance. Camus argued that acknowledging life's absurdity was not despairing. Instead, it was an opportunity to forge a personal path of meaning. Central to Camus's philosophy is his idea that the absurd arises from the human need for clarity in an irrational world. On one hand, we long for meaning. On the other, the universe offers silence. This tension is what Camus called the absurd. To him, the absurd was a fundamental condition of life. It was a challenge to be embraced, not a problem to be solved. Camus believed that in recognizing this absurdity, we become truly alive. He argued that once we accept the absurd, we are freed from false narratives. This freedom, according to Camus, allows for a more authentic existence. Rather than accepting imposed meanings, individuals can create their own. This creative defiance is at the heart of Camus's message. He saw it as a path to personal liberation and fulfillment. In his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, Camus vividly illustrates his ideas. He uses the story of Sisyphus, a figure condemned by the gods. Sisyphus is doomed to roll a boulder up a hill for eternity, only for it to roll back down. To Camus, this myth is a perfect metaphor for human life. The endless struggle, devoid of ultimate purpose, mirrors our own condition. Yet, far from being a tale of despair, Camus offers a surprising twist. Camus invites us to imagine Sisyphus happy. He suggests that the very act of defiance against fate is meaningful. By embracing his task and the absurdity of it, Sisyphus achieves a form of liberation. He becomes a symbol of the human condition. This defiance against given circumstances becomes a powerful act of freedom. For Camus, acknowledging the absurd does not diminish life's value. Instead, it enhances it. In the face of an indifferent universe, Camus argues for a life lived with passion and intensity. He encourages us to find joy in the struggle itself. This approach to life, according to Camus, is liberating. It allows for a genuine engagement with the world. Though life may lack ultimate meaning, it is rich with immediate experiences. In this view, each moment becomes precious and significant. Camus's philosophy raises questions about how we choose to live. Do we succumb to despair, or do we rebel against it? For Camus, the answer is clear. To live authentically is to embrace the absurd and defy it with our actions. This personal revolt becomes a source of strength and purpose. Camus believed that through this, we could find a deeper connection to life. Yet, not everyone agrees with Camus's perspective. Critics have often questioned the moral implications of his philosophy. Some argue that without an objective meaning, morality becomes subjective. They claim this could lead to nihilism or ethical ambiguity. Camus, however, had a different view. He believed that morality could arise through personal revolt against meaninglessness. For Camus, the act of rebellion is inherently ethical. By choosing to create meaning in an absurd world, we affirm our humanity. This act of creation is not without responsibility. It involves a conscious decision to live in accordance with one's values. Camus suggested that this individual choice is the basis of true morality. It is not imposed from without, but emerges from within. Thus, in embracing absurdity, we engage with the moral fabric of life. He believed that this personal morality was more authentic than externally imposed codes. It required a commitment to living truthfully with oneself and others. This ethical life, according to Camus, is born out of the struggle against absurdity. It is a testament to human resilience and creativity. Camus challenges us to reflect on our own lives. He asks whether we are willing to confront the absurdity head-on. In doing so, we might discover a new way of being. Embracing the absurd could lead to liberation or perhaps deeper existential angst. Camus leaves it to us to ponder which path we will choose. Critics of Camus often argue that his philosophy lacks a solid moral foundation. They question how a framework based on absurdity could uphold ethical principles. Without an objective meaning or divine command, they see potential for moral chaos. Skeptics warn that such a perspective might slide into nihilism or ethical relativism. Without clear guidelines, they ask, what stops us from justifying any behavior? Camus, however, counters these concerns with his unique vision of morality. Far from endorsing nihilism, he sees personal revolt as a source of moral strength. In acknowledging absurdity, individuals encounter a profound responsibility. This responsibility is to forge their own ethical path. Camus argues that morality does not need an external anchor. Instead, it can emerge from our inner confrontation with meaninglessness. For Camus, this rebellion against absurdity is deeply ethical. It is not a rejection of values, but a conscious creation of them. By choosing to live according to self-defined principles, we affirm our humanity. This act of defiance is not without its demands. It requires a thoughtful engagement with one's beliefs and actions. Camus insists that this is where true morality begins. It arises not from outside prescriptions, but from personal conviction. In essence, Camus suggests that our struggle against absurdity is what gives rise to genuine moral action. It is a process of continuous reflection and choice. By living authentically, we shape an ethical life from the inside out. This personal morality is dynamic and responsive. It evolves as we encounter new challenges and insights. Camus believed this approach reflected the complexity of human life. It acknowledged the shades of gray that often accompany moral decisions. This does not mean that Camus saw morality as easy or straightforward. On the contrary, he recognized the difficulties inherent in such a path. Embracing absurdity demands courage and resilience. It requires us to question societal norms and expectations. Yet, it is this very questioning that opens the door to meaningful existence. Through it, we can cultivate empathy, integrity, and compassion. Camus invites us to examine whether embracing absurdity leads to true freedom. He challenges us to consider if this acceptance could also deepen existential angst. For some, the acknowledgement of life's lack of inherent meaning is liberating. It frees them from the confines of imposed narratives and rigid doctrines. They find joy in creating their own path and the possibilities it presents. This freedom becomes a source of empowerment and personal fulfillment. Others, however, might find this vision unsettling. The realization of an indifferent universe can induce a sense of isolation. It might intensify feelings of uncertainty and doubt. The absence of a predefined purpose could lead to existential anxiety. Camus acknowledges these varied responses. He does not prescribe a single outcome for everyone. Instead, he sees this tension as central to the human experience. In exploring this philosophical terrain, Camus leaves much to personal interpretation. He encourages us to reflect on our own lives and choices. Are we willing to confront absurdity and the questions it raises? Can we find peace in the struggle itself, or do we yearn for greater certainty? Camus does not provide easy answers. He invites us to engage in the ongoing dialogue between hope and despair. This reflection is not just an intellectual exercise. Camus believed it could transform how we live. By confronting the absurd, we may discover a new depth of understanding. We might uncover a capacity for joy and resilience previously hidden. The journey involves risks, yet it also offers the promise of profound insights. As we navigate these ideas, Camus's challenge remains with us. He asks us to consider what it means to live fully in a world without inherent meaning. To live authentically, we must define our values and act upon them. This process is inherently creative and dynamic. It requires a commitment to honesty with oneself and others. In closing, Camus leaves us with a choice. Will we embrace this defiance as a path to freedom? Or will we allow existential angst to overwhelm us? The path forward is ours to determine. Camus offers his insights, but the journey is personal. In exploring these themes, we discover more than philosophical speculation. We engage with the very fabric of human existence. We wrestle with questions that have persisted throughout history. Through this engagement, we might find unexpected sources of meaning. Thank you for joining this exploration of Camus' profound challenge. As we conclude, consider the possibilities that lie within your own reflections. Join us next time as we delve into more thought-provoking ideas from great minds in philosophy. Until then, continue to ponder the questions raised here. They may lead you to new horizons of understanding. In the aftermath of World War II, Europe found itself grappling with immense devastation, both physically and spiritually. This period was marked by widespread disillusionment and a profound sense of meaninglessness. The horrors of the war had laid bare the fragility of human life and the chaos of the human condition. Amidst this backdrop, Albert Camus emerged with his philosophy of absurdism. He was deeply influenced by the existential crisis that pervaded Europe. Existential thought, which had been gaining traction, sought to address the apparent void in meaning. However, Camus took a distinct path. He recognized the absurdity inherent in the human quest for purpose in an indifferent universe. This was a universe that appeared silent to humanity's cries for meaning. Camus argued that acknowledging the absurd was not to surrender to despair. Instead, it was a call to live with passion and defiance. This philosophical stance was a response to the existential anxiety of the time. It challenged individuals to embrace life fully in spite of its inherent lack of ultimate meaning. In the next section, we will explore how individuals can embrace absurdity through concrete examples, shedding light on Camus's practical approach to living in an absurd world. The theater of the absurd provides a vivid example of embracing absurdity. Playwrights such as Samuel Beckett and Eugene Ionesco crafted narratives that reflect the absurd nature of human existence. In Waiting for Godot, two characters wait for someone who never arrives, illustrating the perpetual waiting and uncertainty of life. Beckett's work embodies Camus's notion of living without appeal to a higher meaning. Another example is the Dada movement, which emerged in reaction to the horrors of World War I. Dadaists embraced chaos and irrationality, challenging established norms through art that deliberately defied conventional logic. This movement echoed Camus' idea of rejecting traditional systems of meaning and finding freedom in the absurd. Albert Camus himself lived his philosophy through his novels and essays. In The Myth of Sisyphus, he likens life to the eternal struggle of rolling a boulder uphill. Camus concludes that one must imagine Sisyphus happy, suggesting that acceptance of absurdity leads to a fuller experience of life. These examples highlight how embracing absurdity can manifest in different contexts. In the following section, we will delve into the role art and literature play in expressing and exploring absurdism further. Art and literature provide fertile grounds for expressing the themes of absurdism. Albert Camus himself utilized these mediums to articulate the tension between human desire for meaning and the silent universe. In his novel, The Stranger, Camus portrays a protagonist, Meursault, who embodies the absurd hero. Meursault's indifferent reaction to his mother's death and his later confrontation with the absurdity of life reflect Camus's philosophical inquiry. Beyond Camus, the works of Franz Kafka also delve into absurdist themes. In Metamorphosis, Kafka presents a surreal transformation that leaves the protagonist, Gregor Samsa, grappling with existential dissonance. Kafka's narrative style accentuates the absurdity of trying to find logic in an illogical world. These literary works have profoundly influenced cultural and philosophical discourse. They invite readers to reflect on their own existence and question the legitimacy of traditional narratives of meaning. Through art and literature, absurdism reaches a broader audience, allowing exploration of complex ideas in accessible forms. As we transition to the next section, consider how these artistic expressions might counter the strongest objections to absurdism, particularly the specter of nihilism and despair. Critics of absurdism often highlight its potential to slip into nihilism and despair. They argue that acknowledging life's inherent meaninglessness might strip individuals of any moral compass. Without a clear purpose or higher order, some fear that people could reject ethical frameworks altogether. This perspective suggests a descent into hopelessness, where values dissolve and actions lose significance. Critics like Thomas Nagel point out that confronting the absurd can make the search for meaning seem futile, leaving individuals in existential paralysis. The objection hinges on the belief that, by affirming absurdity, one might inadvertently promote a life devoid of ambition or ethical responsibility. The perceived rejection of ultimate meaning might foster apathy, encouraging a mindset where nothing matters. In such a scenario, despair could become pervasive, overshadowing any potential for joy or fulfillment. This critique posits that without intrinsic meaning, human experiences become trivial, and moral guidance becomes arbitrary. However, Albert Camus offers a response to this challenge, suggesting that recognizing absurdity need not lead to despair. Instead, he proposes a creative rebellion against it. This brings us to how Camus envisions a response, a topic we will explore in the next section. How can creativity serve as a defense against nihilism? Camus argues that acknowledging the absurd nature of life is just the beginning. Rather than succumbing to nihilism, he believes one should engage in what he calls a creative revolt. This response involves embracing life's lack of inherent meaning by constructing personal significance and purpose. Camus is clear. This revolt is not a rejection of the absurd, but an embracing of it. Camus posits that creativity becomes a vital tool in this rebellion. By creating art, forging relationships, or embarking on personal projects, individuals express their freedom and assert their agency. This act of creation becomes a testament to human resilience. It stands as a refusal to surrender to meaninglessness. Importantly, Camus insists that such a creative effort is authentic only if individuals recognize they are imposing their meanings on a silent universe. In the Myth of Sisyphus, Camus presents the image of Sisyphus finding contentment in his eternal task. This metaphor illustrates how humans can find joy and purpose in the pursuit itself, even if the outcome remains absurd. This leads us to consider how existentialism intersects with absurdism, a topic for our next discussion. Camus's absurdism and existentialism both grapple with the search for meaning in an indifferent universe, yet they diverge significantly. Existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre emphasize individual freedom and personal responsibility in the creation of meaning. Sartre asserts that existence precedes essence, meaning individuals must define their own purpose. In contrast, Camus believes that the universe is inherently meaningless, and any attempt to find inherent meaning is absurd. Søren Kierkegaard, often considered a precursor to existentialism, focuses on the individual's relationship with the divine. He suggests that a leap of faith is necessary to transcend the absurd. Kierkegaard's philosophy implies a resolution to absurdity through faith, which Camus rejects. Camus argues for embracing the absurd without resorting to hope or despair. Both Camus and Sartre value authenticity. Sartre's notion of bad faith highlights the dangers of self-deception in avoiding the burden of freedom. Camus, however, celebrates the acceptance of life's absurdity as a form of authenticity in itself. The key difference lies in their responses to absurdity. Existentialists advocate the creation of personal meaning, while Camus embraces the tension without seeking resolution. This brings us to consider how absurdism manifests in the modern world. In today's world, absurdism finds relevance in the unpredictability of global events and the chaos of modern life. The rapid pace of technological advancement and ever-shifting social landscapes often leave individuals grappling with feelings of disorientation, similar to those Camus described. The internet and social media amplify these experiences, presenting a barrage of information that can seem both meaningful and meaningless simultaneously. Cultural phenomena like surreal humor in popular media, as seen in shows like Rick and Morty, reflect absurdist themes. These narratives embrace chaos and highlight the lack of inherent meaning in the universe, resonating with audiences who find both solace and humor in acknowledging life's absurdity. Moreover, the rise of movements advocating for mindfulness and presence can be seen as modern responses to the absurd, encouraging individuals to find peace in the immediacy of experience. Much like Camus' call to live fully in spite of absurdity. In societies marked by both progress and turmoil, individuals often confront the absurd through activism or creative expression. These acts embody Camus' idea of rebellion with dignity. As we explore further, the ethical implications of embracing absurdism invite a deeper reflection on how we choose to live and act. Camus challenges traditional moral frameworks by dismissing universal truths and absolute values. His philosophy posits that life lacks inherent meaning, thus questioning conventional notions of right and wrong. Instead of succumbing to nihilism, Camus advocates for creating a personal code of ethics grounded in authenticity and integrity. He suggests that individuals must forge their own paths, guided by honest introspection and a commitment to genuine living. This personal code does not reject morality but redefines it through the lens of the absurd. It requires continuous questioning of one's motives and actions. Camus emphasizes the importance of living with courage and clarity, choosing actions that reflect personal convictions rather than societal expectations. This approach empowers individuals to act ethically, not out of obligation, but out of choice. A vivid example of this is the character of Meursault in Camus's novel The Stranger. Meursault's indifference to societal norms exemplifies a radical honesty in the face of absurdity. Through Meursault, Camus illustrates the potential for integrity in a world devoid of fixed moral compasses. As we turn to our final section, we will synthesize these ideas and explore how absurdism can serve as a path to personal growth and understanding. Embracing absurdity does not signify surrender to chaos or despair. Instead, it offers a unique pathway to personal growth. Albert Camus suggests that recognizing the absurdity of life can cultivate resilience. By confronting the void, individuals develop a strength that is not dependent on external validation. This resilience arises not from denying the absurd, but from acknowledging and accepting it. Absurdism also fosters creativity. In a world without inherent meaning, individuals are free to create their own narratives. This creative response allows for new forms of art and expression, where the artist is liberated from traditional constraints. Camus posits that this freedom can lead to a richer and more profound exploration of the human condition. Moreover, absurdism encourages a deeper understanding of life's complexities. It challenges individuals to examine their own beliefs and motivations without the comfort of predefined answers. This introspection can lead to personal transformation, as one learns to navigate life's uncertainties with authenticity. In the next section, we will explore how these insights into absurdism and personal growth extend into ethical considerations, prompting us to reflect on our responsibilities to ourselves and others in an indifferent universe. In embracing the philosophy of absurdism, we embark on a journey that encourages us to find meaning within the chaos. This path does not promise comfort or certainty, but instead offers a profound opportunity for self-discovery. Albert Camus suggests that by confronting the absurd, we may choose to live with passion and freedom, even when faced with life's inherent lack of meaning. This choice empowers us to create our own purpose, forging a path that is uniquely ours. Through this lens, absurdism becomes not a source of despair, but a catalyst for liberation and personal growth. As we ponder our place in the universe, we begin to appreciate the significance of our actions and the impact of our choices. We become more attuned to the weight of our responsibilities, both to ourselves and to others. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the ethical dimensions of living authentically in an indifferent world.